इंसान अल्लाह ताला का ढेर मुहतरम दा ख्वाह दा इंसान मुसलमान दा या काफिर दा अल्लाह ताला ढेर को मेहनत से पैदा करेगा.
At this boarding school in Pakistan's troubled Swat Valley, students are hitting the books and learning new job skills. But they're also learning something harder: how not to be an Islamic extremist. The 170 students here are all former Taliban members who've been captured by the Pakistan army. Today's lesson is that the freedom to practice religion shouldn't be a life or death issue.
No Quran Kareem ka desi ijadat qatan na rate chimunga pabal insan man zulm cha yo insan zindagi khatam kara yo insan zindagi fa'ad musliman da kha'a kafir da no to pura insaniyat khatam ho gaya to dona guna ho gaya.
Mishal is one of 3 boarding schools that opened last year in the area, designed to de-radicalize former Taliban members. Students here are mostly over the age of 17. Here at the Sabaun boarding school, not far away, the faculty works to deprogram younger students, aged 12 to 17. By request, their identities have been concealed. The Taliban ruthlessly ruled Swat Valley for a short time until the military retook control in 2009. But the streets are still carefully guarded. Last year, militants killed Dr. Farooq Khan, who was the first leader of the Sabaun school. This year, they have attacked a neighboring district at least a dozen times. A graphic video posted to the internet shows how they executed 18 local policemen. To lure recruits, the Taliban takes advantage of those with few economic prospects, says Faria Paracha, a neuropsychologist who now runs Sabaun, seen here giving a presentation on her findings.
It is about poverty, deprivation, ignorance, and high levels of illiteracy. Therefore, having given up on this life, they may choose to fight or die for Islam, not live for Islam. They just get swept into a choice that seems the only choice for a better life. The present is so dire.
The majority of Sabaun students come from large families without a male authority figure, Paracha says, and mothers have very little say-so in their children's lives. Kids have trouble deciding right from wrong, as this footage of a conversation between Paracha and one of her students shows.
In our village, Taliban came last year. So what was your relationship with them? I used to meet them at the mosque.
Did they have weapons at the mosque?
Yes, they had their own weapons at the mosque.
So what was all these weapons doing in a mosque? Something to think about, isn't it?
It is.
The mosque is Allah's house.
Some children voluntarily joined the Taliban. Others were kidnapped or sent by their parents, thinking it was their religious duty to do so. One mother sent her son to the Taliban, hoping it would get him off drugs.
I tried to intoxication here, hashish and cigarette snuff and drink. On that due, my mother become compelled and give me to the terrorist, and they beat me very badly, and then they told me you will suicide. Then I told to my mama, the terrorist told me to suicide. My mama phoned to my papa and told him to come here and took him. My father came on visit and took me to Karachi. When I came again on check post, the Pakistan army hold me.
Some of these young children trained to be suicide bombers, but most were tasked with keeping track of army movements and working as Taliban servants. Still, many children resist their new life when they first come to Sabaun, says Brigadier Dr. Mawadat Hussain Rana, a military psychiatrist working at the school.
They're extremely angry. In fact, initially we had scenes where they were banging their heads, they were hitting things, they were breaking their cupboards. but they gradually started to settle down because some of the facilities that they had here, they could not even dream of at their homes. They come from very impoverished families.
Students learn about tolerant Islam, conventional subjects, or get vocational training. Art therapy helps students with the trauma of having experienced so much violence.
Now I feel very good because the Pakistan Army protect us and give here good education and accommodation and food. On that time I was thinking I want to try to suicide. I feel now very bad about that.
The Army claims 31 of 181 Sabaun students have been de-radicalized, but it's a slow process.
One of them who scored more than 80% marks in the metric exam. Another who's going to appear in the BA exam, as you saw. One of them who's going to appear in FSC and he wants to be a doctor. And lo and behold told me that he wants to be a psychiatrist. So there are all sorts of beautiful, very touching stories. But then there are some who we're really struggling even now to get through to.
Older students, on the other hand, are generally quicker to rehabilitate. The process might take some 3 months. This student here says he's ready to give up on fundamentalism. But when these students return back home, the impoverished conditions and the social inequality they left behind will still be there. And the Taliban would be more than happy to take them back. On location in Swat Valley, this is Susanna Koster for Global Post.